as well. We got a junior lefty that'll go Thursday that's going to be a good draft and pitched in Omaha last year and got really good stuff, and a couple of really good right-handers. After that, their lineup is a good 1 through 9. They've got Magnum at the top of the order that's probably going to set the all-time SEC hit record if he hadn't done it yet. I mean, he's had 2 4-for-4 and 5-for-5 games this year. Switch hitter, he's an incredible hitter. And he turned down the money and came back for his senior year, and he sets the table and drives runs in the second, third, fourth time up. So they're just good. They have power. I mean, if you just look at their numbers, they're hitting, 320 as a team, somewhere in there, hitting in the SEC play, and they're just really good. They're physical.
Yeah, Mississippi State's a very experienced lineup. They brought back a lot of guys that they had in their Omaha team last year when they made that run. So they're experienced, and they're going to make it tough. If you're going to walk them, they're going to make you pay for it, and they're going to put runs on the board. And then Jake Mangum, his numbers speak for himself. He's their all-time hits leader at Mississippi State. He's a great hitter. And I'm just ready for the challenge to face him and their whole lineup on Thursday.
We need Zay to go out there and do what he's been doing all year. I mean, he goes 6+ innings every game and doesn't really give up too many runs, too many hits. And I just hope that we can carry the momentum from last Sunday, from today to Thursday for him, and we can produce those runs for him, because it's well deserved.
I think it starts with Zay keeping us in the game, and I think we're facing a good starter Thursday as well, and Zay keeping us in the game is going to be crucial for the game.
With a little audio, Arkansas hosting a big time baseball SEC series this weekend as number 2 Mississippi State comes in to Baum Walker Stadium. Tonight's first pitch, 8 p.m. Now you can catch that ball game tonight on ESPNU. For those that can't make it out to Baum Walker, I'm anticipate a very festive environment, Demetrius. When you get 2 baseball teams, especially in the SEC, 2 highly ranked baseball teams, top 10 type of talent. With a lot of major league prospects, don't you think Baum Walker will be on a different level? Kind of what we were used to seeing last year?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a exciting environment. Anytime you have, SEC teams play against each other, which you can really see the SEC is really taking over the baseball world. You can really see interesting environment.
Came out yesterday. Chelsea Dungy has been invited to the USA trials. Great young lady, had a great season. I'm not at all surprised as Demetrius. We were on another station a few years ago. We interviewed Chelsea when she initially committed to the University of Arkansas, and some things that she said back then are coming to fruition. Why she came to the University of Arkansas, the impact she felt like she would have here in Fayetteville during her time, maybe to the degree a little earlier than what some may have thought. As Chelsea Demetrius, it's so crazy. This young lady has 2 more years to be a savage if you're opposing a basketball program in women's basketball in the SEC. How special is that if you're Coach Neighbors and the Razorback fan base to see number 33 for 2 more years?
It's huge. We were talking around the women's SEC tournament that she was arguably the best offensive player in that tournament, if not overall player. So to learn that Coach Mike Neighbors is going to get her for 2 more years, I think that's a good state of the program, especially the way Mike Neighbors continues to recruit. I think he has the ability to really stockpile not only young ladies that can help Chelsea get to that end goal, but to continue with a winning tradition inside the women's program. And I think that's key because it takes blue chip athletes to really stockpile to really get those championships, because you're only good as your weakest link.
I mean, some of the things that Super said, Moncrief, we had him on yesterday. What were some of the things that during that interview yesterday, in your opinion? I know you were busy running the show quite a bit, didn't have time to really interact, but what stood out to you in your opinion, Demetrius, of some of the things Sid said? Going in, when you're talking about maturation and in programs and having star athletes, he mentioned as far as Coach Musk goes.
I just think he really hit the nail on the head as far as recruiting. I think Coach Musselman brings a different level of recruiting that Mike Anderson brought to the University of Arkansas, and I think he has a lot farther reach, if you would say, across the nation, and not just specific states. I think he has the ability to really get funnel schools from a high school program to really start investing in Arkansas from a student athlete perspective. And I think, again, those are components that you need to be self-sufficient and have longevity winning in the SEC.
You know, Coach Morris always talks about footprint in the city of Memphis. So we got a big show when we speak about the city of Memphis, as we're going to have on Prep Hoops, Courtney Asher-Smith. You know, Arkansas is going to really be trying to get back in to the state of Tennessee, as it was good to the University of Arkansas during the Nolan Richardson era. And they've got a few prospects maybe on Coach Musselman's radar that we might need to hear about. Now, he doesn't have any offers out to these guys, but maybe some players in the future that Razorback fans need to hear about. We'll have on Courtney Asher-Smith, and he'll give us an update on just the talent level in the state of Tennessee. And then we'll follow that up at 1:30 with Adam Sparks of the Tennessean. Time to talk a little Vandy basketball. They made a new hire as well. Jerry Stackhouse has joined on to be the new head basketball coach at Vanderbilt University in his first collegiate head coaching job. Made some big news with a couple hires. We'll catch up with Adam and see what he has to say about this hire and many, many more, and just how the SEC is going to stack up as far as basketball goes. Coaching, and get a little, also, I know something that Demetrius loves. We'll get a little spring football update from Adam as well. But we're going to step away, get this thing started. We caught up, and I want you guys to hear a little bit about how Chelsea Dungy feels about this big honor that she just received, having a chance to play for the USA. And then we'll be back.
I heard from
this on
Coach
the Hill
Neighbors
with Pat
first
Jenkins
on Sunday.
KESJ.
He was down there for recruiting. And he had texted me and let me know that I got an invite. And, of course, I was really excited. And I sent the message to my mom, and she spread it to my family. And I was just really excited. And it's awesome to be able to represent my country twice, because I had made the team when I was 16 on the U16 team. So.
Wow. So, I mean, to be invited again, what does that mean to you?
It means a lot. I really just really excited for the opportunity, and very few people got an invite. And I'm just proud of the hard work that I put in, and it's really paying off, and I'm really excited for that.
When you look at the way you ended the season, what was that run like for you personally?
I was really excited. I felt like that had brought the team together. I felt like we had a couple bumps in the road, but going to the SEC tournament and really fighting together and beating three of the top teams in the country really brought us together and showed us what we can really do if we buy in and really play together. And for me, it was just really exciting to be able to set the tournament record. I can't even believe I still don't believe it's been like 35 years since that's been broke. So coming off that energy, I tried to bring that same thing to the WNIT, and my teammates did also, and we put up a great fight. Houston came out with a lot of energy, and TCU we did too. We just didn't come up with the win. So
The scoring that you had down the stretch, I mean, it's tough to night in and night out, but you were able to do that.
Yes, I just took what was given. If playing too close, I beat him off the dribble. Too far at my shot, I just kind of went with the flow of things.
What's your approach to the tryouts?
I just want to come out with a lot of energy and a lot of what I've been doing all season, power and strength and being a great teammate and be able to get to the basket at will, and showing off my three-point shot and my off-the-dribble ability, just kind of an overall game.
When you look at the exposure you and your team got down the stretch, what was that run like? When you kind of sit back and look at it a couple of weeks removed.
I think it really helped our team. It really represented the university well, and I just think that it showed what behind closed doors, what we do behind closed doors, the hard work that we put in is represented to everyone in the community.
You're gonna celebrate.
Hey everyone, it's Pat Jenkins here of OTH. That's right, On the Hill with Pat Jenkins, Sports Talk Radio. We come to you each and every day here, Monday through Friday, from 1 to 2 on KDSJ 479. Be sure and tune in if you want to hear about SEC and the Arkansas Razorbacks. It's OTH. Holla. Welcome in, welcome in, welcome in. It's our Thursday edition of On the Hill with Pat Jenkins Sports Talk Radio, coming to you live each and every day, Monday through Friday, from 1 to 2 p.m. here on KDSJ 479. And Coach Eric Musselman was named the new head basketball coach here at the University of Arkansas. But also, too, there's a new head basketball coach in the state of Tennessee, new Vanderbilt head coach, Jerry Stackhouse. So with all that being said, the state of Tennessee for both programs will be highly sought after between these SEC schools. So we thought we'd catch up with a guy that I know knows a lot about the state of Tennessee when it comes to high school hoops. Courtney Asher Smith of Prep Hoops. Courtney, welcome back, my man. Been a long time.
Yes, man. You know what? It's been a long time. I think the last time I was on here, I was covering Ole Miss. So, yeah, it's been a minute.
You were the one I distinctly remember, Courtney, that told me off the record that, you know, what's happening in Oxford right now was something that you foresaw a couple of years in advance, because you did tell me they were going to be weak on defense. Offensively, things were going to start to fall apart. So I have to give you credit on that. But on the basketball and what you're really an expert at, the state of Tennessee. You know, with the state of Tennessee being a very highly recruited state, so many athletes, in particular that Memphis area. You know, Penny goes there to his hometown. Now Jerry Stackhouse comes in. We all know the history Arkansas had under Nola Richardson. Coach Anderson here at Arkansas was able to have some success, as was John Pelfrey. Talk about the state of Tennessee and how maybe some fans might keep an eye on that state as far as recruiting goes in the future.
Oh, man, you know what? The next two classes are going to have a lot of talent in them. And I think there are going to be a lot of, especially schools from the SEC, they're going to be sticking their nose out in the state of, they're going to be sticking their nose in this state for talent. You know, Kermit Davis, as soon as he got that Ole Miss job,
Right, good point.
he hurried up and started sticking out to talent in Tennessee. He went and came and got Octavian Collum after 2019 class, a 6'8" small forward. You know, Tennessee, Rick Barnes, he got a kid, Drew Bember from Bearden High School, coming his way. So these coaches know there's talent here. Penny, his whole class is from the state. His whole entire 2019 class is from the state. He's looking at Matthew Morrell, a 6'3" combo guard out of Whitehaven High School. He's looking at him very closely. I wouldn't be surprised if Jerry Stackhouse look at Matthew Morrell, a 6'3" combo guard that's very athletic. He can do basically everything a combo guard needs to do. He's definitely improved on his outside shooting, something he definitely needed to improve on. Because I remember, you know, hearing about him as a sophomore before I really started covering high school basketball. That he's very athletic, but he needs to work on his jump shooting. Well, he's definitely doing it. Yeah, I saw a lot of that in his junior season. There's another kid that Vanderbilt has looked at. Matter of fact, looked at before Jerry Stackhouse came when Bryce Field was the head coach. And there's Kennedy Chandler out of Briarcrest Christian School. He just finished up his sophomore year, just won Mr. Basketball, led the Saints to the Division II AA state championship. He's hot right now. He's been picking up a lot of offers, and I'm pretty sure he took an unofficial visit to Kentucky during the regular season. So his recruitment has been spiking up, and I'm pretty sure Vanderbilt is going to continue to come after that kid. So in this state alone, for the next 2 years, there's going to be plenty of talent to choose from. And in my opinion, I think Stackhouse and Penny Hardaway are going to be butting heads for a lot of these kids, because they're going to have the same interest at certain positions of what they need. And both of these coaches are going to be, you know, neck to neck for some of these kids. Now, will they get them? Who knows? Because you got to remember, you got Kentucky with John Calipari that's sticking his nose out here for some of this talent. You don't know where these kids are going to go. It's all about, some of these kids want to go play right away. Some of these kids want to, you know, win a national championship, you know, 2 or 3 years, be there 2 or 3 years, and hopefully make deep runs and break records. It's all about what these kids want. So it's going to be interesting. I think adding Jerry Stackhouse is going to really spike up, the recruitment, because kids are going to really pay attention. There's another guy that played in the NBA. He knows what it takes. So it's not going to be an easy cakewalk for Penny. I just don't think it's going to be easy for him. But it could be, but I don't think so.
Talking with Courtney Asher Smith of PrepHoops.com, covers high school basketball in the state of Tennessee for Prep Hoops in multiple states. But when you look at this, Courtney, with Jerry Stackhouse being former NBA, you have Eric Musselman coached in the NBA, Calipari, multiple coaches with that NBA experience coming into this league. Highly recruiters are, and big time recruiters are being added to these guys' staff. We all know about Kentucky and how they recruit. Then you have to look over into, Jerry Stackhouse today goes out and hires the first woman assistant basketball coach in the SEC at a men's institution. Talk about those type of things, and when you do things like that, with today's young individual athlete, how much stock do those kids take with the NBA? And now you go out and hire the first G League NBA coach in history to be at that staff at Vanderbilt. How does that help the state of Tennessee with Jerry Stackhouse recruiting wise?
It's going to be helpful, because these kids are looking at, okay, can you get me to the NBA? You got a lot of kids, they feel like they can get to the NBA. They have those are their dreams. And they feel like going into a program before they commit to any school, what's the track record of putting kids into the league? That's why Calipari has been so successful since he's been at Kentucky, because they all started when he was at UMass. He was able to put some guys into the league. Memphis, he was able to put some guys into the league. And he's really been able to put a lot of guys into the league while he's been at Kentucky. So when kids see that, they're like, okay, Calipari can put me into the league after 1 or 2 years. I mean, P.J. Washington is a prime example. He came in as a top recruit as a freshman, didn't have the year he expected, decided to come back to school. He trusted Calipari. He had a much better sophomore season. He's projected as a first round draft. And Tyler Heroes, another kid, he committed from Wisconsin, ended up committing to Kentucky. He goes off to Kentucky, has a stellar freshman year. At first, going into the year, he wasn't even projected as a first-round draft pick. But it's the strong finish he had NBA GMs like, okay, this kid is first-round talent. Now he's projected as a first-round draft pick. So Penny has to do the same thing. Penny hasn't done it yet. I think he's going to do it in year one. In year one with his best class to date, I think he's going to do well. James Wise is the number one kid in the country. He's from the state. So he's going. I think that's going to be the first kid Penny puts into the NBA. And kids are going to be like, okay, you put James Wiseman in, let's see what else you put in. And then maybe I'm next. So kids are looking at that. So for Jerry Stackhouse to make that higher, I think he knows he needed something. He needed an attractive coaching staff. Right. The coaches that have resumes of coaching in the NBA G League or coaching in the NBA. So these kids can be so you can relate to kids that have dreams of playing in the NBA. If you don't have anything on your resume saying that you have coached in the NBA, or you have the connections where you can put the kids into, you can send the kids in the direction where they can have the chance of playing in the league, then you're going to come up short on a lot of the best talent in the area. I mean, that's the way that's the way things are going now. You look at a lot of these coaching staffs. They have the attraction, right? Some sort of either playing in the NBA or coaching in the NBA or having the connections, knowing someone that can be beneficial for these kids on making their next step. So Jerry Stackhouse, so far, he's doing what he needs to do to set himself up for success at Vanderbilt.
Talking with Courtney Asher Smith, PrepHoops.com covers all recruiting and all high school basketball throughout the state of Tennessee and multiple states surrounding. But last question before I let you go, Courtney, for Coach Stackhouse, the Kermit Davises, Barnes, Musselmans, and also Penny Hardaways. with all those schools being surrounded and really going to try to focus in on the Mississippi, Memphis areas that you cover quite well. Could you give us a few names that maybe the fans, here in Razorback country might want to keep an eye out either in the 20 or 21 classes that the Razorbacks might try to go after, in your opinion, talent-wise? Who are some of the top ones coming up in the 20 to 21 class?
I already named a couple of them. Matthew Morrell, 6'3" combo guard at Whitehaven High School. He's roughly around. He put on 15 pounds of muscle last offseason going into his junior year, and it's paid off for him. I mean, he's a very, very athletic kid. He can shoot from. He can try. I mean, once he gets up in the air, there's nothing bringing him down. He can shoot from three, and then that's going to be beneficial for him because in college you got to be able to shoot. As a guard, you got to be able to shoot. Kennedy Chandler, he's another kid that plays defense. He's very aggressive on defense. He can get you 4 or 5 steals easily in the game. He can give you 25 points. He can give you 7 to 8 assists. He can fill up the stat sheet. A kid that Ole Miss and TCU are looking at. Matter of fact, both programs have offered this kid. He's a 2021 kid, Alvin Applewhite out of Lausanne Collegiate School. He's a 6'6" combo guard. He can see over the defense. He can basically get any type of shot he wants. Because of his length, his wingspan, and his athleticism. He's a left-handed shooter, and it's hard to. And Pat, you've been around basketball long enough, to know it's hard to guard guys that are left-handed.
Absolutely,
it's very hard. He's one of the very few kids in the state that he's just difficult to guard. He's long and he can shoot. And another kid that's in West Memphis, Chris Moore, he's a 2020 kid. Memphis and a lot of programs. His recruitment has spiked up. I have yet to see him. I've seen his highlights of him, and I see why,
I've had a chance to see him.
Programs.
Yes.
I see why programs are sticking their necks out trying to get him because of what he brings.
Right.
I mean, what he brings. He's a highlight reel. So, between Memphis, between the Olive Branch and South Haven, on through the state of Mississippi, and pretty much the state of Tennessee, there's going to be plenty of talent for the next 2 classes. Right now, 2022 kids are to see how their development comes. But as far as 2020 and 2021, those are going to be 2 classes stacked with a lot of guard. And this is guard heavy. So the Kermit Davis, Musselman, Stackhouse, Penny, they're going to have plenty of guards to choose from for the next 2 years.
All right, Courtney, as always, man, welcome back to the show. As it's been a while, but we're not going to let you get away this time, as we're going to be leaning on you for a lot of Tennessee high school basketball coverage throughout. But as always, my man, thanks for taking time out here on the Hill.
Man, I appreciate you.
All right. That was Courtney Asher Smith. PrepHoops.com covers all of the state of Tennessee when it comes to high school basketball. Knows a lot, and we're going to continue to lean on Courtney, as I'm pretty sure, Demetrius, Coach Musselman and staff will be making their way over into Tennessee, in particular the Bluff City. So prepare for a lot of battles. I'm sure ready to hear a lot of recruiting battles between Coach Muss and all SEC coaches, and also the Memphis program as well. But we caught up with Coach Jerry Stackhouse in an interview before we bring up and Adam Sparks to talk about his new hiring. And this is what Coach Stackhouse had to say, and we'll be back. It's On the Hill with Pat Jenkins from KDSJ 479. Back in a moment. Hey everyone, it's Pat Jenkins here of OTH. That's right, On the Hill with Pat Jenkins, Sports Talk Radio. We come to you each and every day here, Monday through Friday, from 1 to 2 on KDSJ 479. Be sure and tune in if you want to hear about SEC and the Arkansas Razorbacks. It's OTH. Holla.
This position.
Well, I just think that the combination of excellent academics as well as, playing at a high level, on the basketball court was, obviously my relationship with Malcolm and, knowing how he's going to, his mindset of excellence, it's just felt like a great fit.
Let's talk about that, because obviously you spent a couple of years coaching as a head coach in the G League, had a lot of success, and we all know our new athletics director, Malcolm Turner, was kind of overseeing the G League for a while. So How much did that relationship play into all this taking place?
Well, we really, people, because he's a former Tar Heel and I'm a Tar Heel, they thought maybe that we went, real far back then, but no, we actually missed each other. He graduated in '93 as I was coming in, so we really only connected there in the G League, just seeing his work there, how he was able to grow and be innovative, with that league. And I think, it was just a mutual respect from the work that I put in with the team that was in that league. And there was just some great synergy there, and now we're here, man. So we're just excited to try to do something really special, here for Commodore Nation.
You had spent time in the G League. You spent time in most recently in the NBA as an assistant. Were you looking for this move to move into the college game? I mean, was this the time you were looking for, or did this just kind of all fall into place?
It just kind of all fell into place. I think I was right on the trajectory for, an NBA head coaching job, and then, this opportunity came available, and it just made a lot of sense for what I want, what I love to do as far as teaching basketball. I did it at the grassroots level, and I did it beyond. So now I got that group in the middle now. So I'm excited about, the possibility of just, accomplishing something special. Obviously, it was a tough season last year, but getting the opportunity to speak with these guys and look in their eyes and see the excitement about the possibility of doing something special, and I'm really, really, really pumped to do it.
Well, we know obviously your career at North Carolina, followed by 18 years in the NBA, which is an amazing run in the NBA. I would ask you who your coaching influences were, but that's probably about the easiest question that you'll ever get.
Welcome back.
And I've had some really good ones,
man. Here with Pat Jenkins Sports Talk Radio. And before we get on to our next special guest, I want to give a shout out to our sponsors, as this would not be possible without you all. Lindsay and Associates, with an office location in Fayetteville and office location also too in Rogers. The Baymont Hotel, located at 735 South Shiloh Drive in Fayetteville. Locomotion, it's located just below the Northwest Arkansas Mall, and our newest sponsor, Corey Beck's Custom Painting. Now on to our special guest. The Vanderbilt Commodores as so much coaching movement has been taking place in the SEC. Well, they found theirs as they went down to Memphis and took the assistant coach of the Memphis Grizzlies and named Jerry Stackhouse their new head basketball coach. So we thought we'd catch up with our good buddy of the Tennessean, Adam Sparks. Adam, welcome back, my man, to the Hill.
Back on. This is not supposed to be a busy time of the year, but you hired Jerry Stackhouse to get a little busier.
Talk about that, Adam. The last 2 years, not the success as I believe 22 consecutive SEC losses in basketball when you count the SEC tournament. Talk about going in this direction with Coach Stackhouse. Is this something that is a good thing, or still yet with him having no experience, it's still a wait and see approach?
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly an out-of-the-box hire. There's no doubt about that. Anytime you hire an NBA coach, and even a short-term NBA coach, NBA G-League coach, it can be a little bit of a risk. I mean, Stackhouse, he played 18 years in the NBA, so he got out. He worked his way up the ranks, was an assistant NBA coach, and then was a very successful G-League NBA G League head coach, was the G League Coach of the Year, won a title in the G League, got, I guess you could say, promoted to the Memphis Grizzlies as an assistant coach this year. And his background or his ties, I guess, with the athletics director makes this maybe not as surprising of a hire as it would be some of the places. Vandy's new AD, Malcolm Turner, was the president of the G League for about 4 years. And so he knew Stackhouse from there. He was quite an admirer of how Stackhouse coached in this league, and they're both North Carolina guys. And so when the position came open, when they fired Bryce Drew, where a lot of us thought, well, okay, Vandy's going to go get a really good mid-major coach or a retread power conference coach. Instead, Malcolm Turner, the AD, went to where he was most familiar, and that was the G League. And Jerry Stackhouse, again, it's a little bit of a risk because he hadn't coached in college, but he can coach basketball.
Right.
He was going to be a candidate for some NBA head coaching jobs before Vandy snatched him up. So we'll see.
Talked with Courtney Asher-Smith previously. He covers Prep Hoops high school basketball recruiting throughout the state of Tennessee. And, he feels with Stackhouse's background, like you said, Adam being in the NBA, also coaching there at the Memphis Grizzlies, but also, too, a lot of people may not realize he has a real extensive background with coaching AAU basketball as well. Talk about, that part of Stackhouse getting the job and how he'll be able, because he did used to have a very well-known AAU program, and being in the state and being able to recruit the state of North Carolina, how the recruiting factors also played into maybe, Stackhouse being the pick to take over that Commodore position.
Yeah, he started his own AAU program right after he came out of the NBA as a player. Started it in Atlanta. It was a very successful AAU program. And then he ran that for a couple years, and then went on to he was kind of a guest instructor at the NBA elite camp for what ended up being a lot of the best college players in the country back a few years ago. So he's got that experience of being around high school players and coaching high school players, and being kind of weaved into a lot of the recruiting game. Recruiting world. He's going to hire guys on his staff that are known recruiters on the college side. He already has one of those in place. David Grace, who is a longtime coach in the Pac-12, UCLA, Cal, Oregon State. He's a very good recruiter. Recruited Lonzo Ball to UCLA. So he'll have that on the college side. He's going to hire some more people with AAU experience. So it's not just Stackhouse; it's the staff. But of course, his name is going to draw at least some attention when he comes into a living room. Not entirely like Penny Hardaway, but I think you could compare the two.
Right.
Not every high school player knows who Penny Hardaway is, and not all of them know who Jerry Stackhouse is, but a lot of them do. And all their dads and uncles and aunts and all those know who those two guys are, and that's kind of half the battle.
One thing I see Jerry doing, and we all know in recruiting, if you don't get the mama, you're really not going to get the kid or even have a chance to get into the home. He goes out and does something that I think no one saw coming by hiring Nikki Gross, the first women's basketball coach in the G League, in the NBA. Talk about that, and that has to go pretty big now when you're trying to get in the homes and mothers see, that women are now starting to get on the men's side, and they're on that bench. How do you think that will go over as far as recruiting goes?
I mean, that has, it's different impacts on different recruits, different impacts on different recruits' families. For one thing, it does show that Stackhouse will not necessarily follow the common path of every other college staff. And I don't even know if he really intends to do it that way. I think he's just trying to build a staff based on what his experiences are. And, Nikki Gross she was an assistant coach on his staff in the G League when he was head coach there. She was an analyst for the Grizzlies when this past season when Stackhouse was an assistant on that staff. So it's just kind of normal to him to have really her specifically on a staff that he's with. And so, it'll certainly make an impact. I mean, people like to notice kind of new things in college basketball, and that's certainly a new thing.
The one thing I want to ask, and I've sat down and wrote a lot of the new coaches and just the coaches in general in the SEC. 7 teams went to the SEC this year, 7 coaches, I mean, and then 3 are coming in with Coach Oates, Coach Williams, and now Coach Musselman here at Arkansas. That gives you 10. You got guys like Martin, he's been to a Final Four and whatnot. Talk about just the caliber of talent at the coaching, in the coaching fraternity here in the SEC, and how difficult will it be? You have Tom Crean, Conzo Martin, with what Bruce Pearl was able to do, recruiting and just getting the best players are going to this conference. Do you think it took a jump up? And is this big boy coaching in the SEC, in your opinion?
Oh, yeah, it absolutely is. I mean, you can spell this out a little bit with like Bryce Drew, who Stackhouse replaced. I think 5 to 10 years ago, a Bryce Drew who was very successful in Valparaiso at a mid-major school. He could have come into the SEC and won more. I mean, he recruited well, but he could have won more. He certainly wouldn't have had a 20-game losing streak in the SEC a few years ago because you did have a few more gimmies in the conference, and you did have some weaker coaches. There's not a gimme now, and if you have a lower ceiling than the rest of the coaches in the conference, it's going to show now.
Right.
There is elite coaching in this conference, and you'll be exposed if you have not just a weakness of the head coach, but on your staff. And so, with Stackhouse coming in, he's got to be able to coach. This is not a on-the-job training kind of thing. Not to say that he would need that. He's coached at the NBA level, but
Right.
you're not going to. You will be exposed if you don't know how to coach in game, because there's not really a coach you can look around the conference and say, "Well, I can out-coach that guy." That's not the case, especially the last 2 or 3 years in the league.
We're talking also, talking with Adam Sparks of the Tennessean, talking Vanderbilt athletics, the hiring of Jerry Stackhouse. But the topic that everybody wants to know about. It just means more in the SEC, and that's never going to change, and that's SEC football. From what you were able to witness during spring ball, what are some of the things that, you came away with, Adam, and, who are going to be some of the players that we need to keep an eye out for going into the 2019 season?
Well, the obvious big three with Vanderbilt are the three All-SEC skill guys. That's Keyshawn Vaughn, running back, Jared Pinkney, the tight end, Kalijah Lipscomb, the wide receiver. Vandy traditionally has just historically not had those type of difference makers at skill positions. They're guys that can have a good defensive back here. There's somebody that will put some offensive linemen into the NFL. They had Jay Cutler, they had Jordan Matthews, but they haven't really had a big three like this in quite some time. So I'd say those three could be difference makers. Really the biggest storyline by far coming out of spring is quarterback position. Kyle Shermer is the all-time passer in Vandy history. He's headed now to the NFL. And what's left is Deuce Wallace, who was going to be Shermer's replacement. He was suspended this past season. He's back now. But he hasn't really played much at all in his career. And then Riley Neal, who is a Ball State grad transfer. He's played a ton of games, thrown for about 8,000 yards at Ball State, but he's played in the MAC. So one guy's played a lot, but in the MAC, one guy has not played much, but he's in the SEC, and those two guys are battling it out. Coach Derek Mason said that competition will probably go all the way into preseason camp and maybe a week before the season opener. I think both may play, but it's still it's a pretty neck and neck race right now.
Hey, as always, my man, I love having you on to talk Vandy Commodores football, basketball, and all Vandy athletics. And in my opinion, and I was telling D when you guys came to Fayetteville and won, this Vanderbilt football team for the coming years, in my opinion, will be one of the teams on the upswing. Kind of like Mississippi State a few years ago and kind of like Kentucky. I think Vandy's prime because I really like the young talent that you have. But Adam, as always, thanks for taking time out on the hill, my man.
All right, Pat. Thanks. Have a good one.
That was Adam Sparks of the Tennessean giving us the Jerry Stackhouse update, the football update. Demetrius, I mean, I agree with Adam. When you think about the quarterback spot, that running back, the wide receiver, they all had big games here in Fayetteville back in late, was it middle November? They had big games, walked away with a very decisive win in Donald W. Reynolds, but they're a team that you got to keep an eye on. I'm telling you, they're a team. Derek Mason's got some talent down there. I mean, what say you before we get this thing closed out?
I'd have to agree 100%. We were lucky enough to have the opportunity to talk to Coach Mason after that decisive victory, and it was an honor to really congratulate him to see where Vanderbilt has come, because it used to be times where people wrote Vanderbilt off and already had a W before the season even started, as if that was a guaranteed win. So I just really like it that if you really look at the SEC from top to bottom, they're really making strides. And I know it's always, the SEC is the best, but when you really look across the board, I think this year, especially this year, I think you're really going to see a rise in the top teams coming from SEC schools. I know you're still going to have your typical blue blood schools like your your Clemsons, your Notre Dames, your Oklahomas, but you're going to see a lot more underrated. The Kentuckys, the Vanderbilts. Florida's going to come back. You're going to really start seeing some of those SECs really dominate the top 25 coming football season.
Their facilities, the way they're paying their coaches, Demetrius, just everything. I mean, when they say it just means more, we see that every year, Demetrius, that we're at the SEC Media Days. It just means more, and I think they truly live by those words. All the SEC commissioners, all the ADs, I mean, well, SEC commissioners, there's only one. But, all the athletic directors at these institutions, I mean, they give their coaches, both on the men's and women's side, ample resources to achieve greatness for all their athletes. And then the academic side, I mean, I'm here at Arkansas. I can just imagine how much they're spending academically. But these institutions are really the elite institutions, and it just directly shows why so many kids are moving on professionally in football, basketball, baseball, softball, soccer, track, whatnot. They're all achieving at a high level, and that's due to just by the importance that's placed on just the resources and accessibility. But that's going to wrap it up. I want to give a big shout out and a big thank you to Courtney Asher Smith of PrepHoops.com for coming on and talking Tennessee high school basketball and talent. I know these listeners and people throughout the SEC, some of the names he threw out, you're definitely going to be reading about and catching at a TV or social media near you. Also, too, a big thank you to Adam Sparks for giving us the update and the heartbeat of how things are going in Commodore Land up there in Nashville. As Jerry Stackhouse was named the head basketball coach, and also to letting us know what Coach Mason and that football bunch is up to as well, following up spring ball. But as also want to give a shout out to our sponsors, Lindsay and Associates, with an office location in Fayetteville, and office location also too in Rogers. The Baymont Hotel, located at 735 South Shiloh Drive in Fayetteville,